Hi, and welcome to Living History. My name is Marianne Tashko, and we are here on location in the home of retired Sheriff Howard Bowman. Greetings. Thank you for inviting us into your home.
You're welcome. Glad to have you.
You are the very first captain of the Sheriff's Department of the County of Ventura.
Right,
Is that correct?
right.
And what year did you join the force?
What year did I start to work?
Yes.
I started to work in 1937, in the first part of I think it was April, of 1937.
1937.
Right.
Do you mind if I tell people how old you are?
It's all right with me.
97.
Last birthday
Last birthday, which makes you,
in June 22nd.
how old are you?
Yeah, so
So you're 97. So that means you were born in 1904.
right, June 22nd.
And where were you born?
I was born in the state of Kansas, in Lyon County, Lyon, Lyon County. But I was raised one county east of that, which was Coffee County. And I've never liked coffee ever since. I drink very little coffee.
When did you come to California?
1920,
You came here in 1920.
right,
With your family.
right.
And how old were you then?
Well,
18?
I was 16 years old, and I was in high school. I went to high school back in Kansas. I was in high school, and we came to Kings County, up in the San Joaquin Valley, Hanford,
And what brought your family here?
relation of my mother. Her mother was my grandmother, and her sisters and two brothers lived here in California, so she wanted to come, so we sold the ranch, or it was a farm in Kansas. It's not a ranch, it was a farm. We sold our farm and everything and came to California.
And then when did you come to the Canal Valley or Ventura?
I came to Ventura then in 1930. And in between, I finished high school in Hanford, and then I lived in San Francisco, and then came to Ventura in 1930.
And you've stayed ever since.
Then yes, my brother and I owned a service station on the avenue for a while, and I sold out to him, and I went to work for the Division of Fish and Game, state of California.
And what was your role with the...
I was a game warden. I was a fish. They called it Fish and Game. It's a department, very big department in the state of California, Division of Fish and Game.
And then after that, you started working for the police department.
It was after that I went to work for the sheriff's department in 1937.
Now, I understand originally when you got a badge, the number on it indicated how many deputies. And what is the number on your original badge?
Well, number 19.
So you were the 19th deputy.
That's apparently probably about right. There might have been some miscalculations in bookkeeping back that long ago, you know, but I was supposed to be number 19. Well, in fact, I had badge number 19 given to me, so that was my badge number, 19.
And even though you worked in Ventura, you had a very big area to cover. What areas did you cover?
When I was on patrol, we covered the entire county of Ventura, my partner and myself. And my partner, most of the time, I had several partners different times on account of vacations and days off and sicknesses and holidays and so forth. But my main partner that I trained under and worked with was Joe Parr, P-A-R-R, Joe Parr. And he had I I think he had badge number 10.
So he got here before you did.
Yes, he was 4 years ahead of me.
So tell me some of the areas you came to that you patrolled. You patrolled.
We patrolled any place in California from the Cuyama Valley and Lockwood Valley and Thousand Oaks, Sherwood, Highway 1, Rincon, and Ojai, and
How did you patrol? What kind of vehicle did
well,
did
we
you
had
drive?
they furnished us with Plymouth and sedans, Chevrolets, and Ford.
And so, what was it like then?
And I had a car assigned to me, and I kept it at home because you were subject to call at any time of the day or night. They could call you out, holidays or vacation or any other time. They could call you because they didn't have any replacements.
And when you patrolled, what was the Canal Valley like then?
Like any small community, a very, very clean, nice, small community. Thousand Oaks had Main Street and probably a justice of the peace judge and a constable, and that was the only law enforcement they had. And they was, as I can remember, we probably were in Thousand Oaks 3, 4, 5 times a week, maybe 2 or 3 times a day even, on patrol, depending on where there was business for us and who called. But it was a one street going through was Thousand Oaks Boulevard.
And what was on Thousand Oaks Boulevard then?
Well, there was a school and 2 or 3 little eating places, a barber shop, post office, and a bank. And I don't recall any car dealership, but maybe there was. And other small stores, grocery stores, and probably a blacksmith shop, like they used to have. Probably because there was a lot of horses and a lot of farmers and ranchers and people that lived in the country, because that's all it was. It was country living is really what it was like. It was great.
Were the roads paved?
They had a catamized road, yes. Some of them, the main ones, like Thousand Oaks and 101 Highway, was a 2-lane road, paved, but no such thing as a freeway.
And how did you get from Ventura to Thousand Oaks? What was the canal grade like then? I'm sure it wasn't the highway it is now.
It was very crooked and very slow, and it was second gear, and if your car wasn't real good, some of it was low gear. Lots of curves and lots of brush out the side, 2 lanes, and if you got behind a truck, you were stuck. You just stayed there till you got to the top, unless you wanted to take a chance, and you couldn't take too much of a chance because there might have been a car coming around this curve.
When you got to Thousand Oaks, was there much activity? I mean, was there very much crime in that area, or?
Very quiet little neighborhood, always clean, and very, very nice people live in Thousand Oaks. Well, I got acquainted with lots of people and made a lot of friends over there. Met a lot of movie people. They made a lot of pictures in Lake Sherwood and Thousand Oaks on the ranches.
What pictures did they make there?
Well, one that I can remember was The Westerner, and I don't know whether you remember that. I think Gene Autry probably, and Tom Mix played in that, and their old time. I knew Tom Mix and Richard Dix and his mother. I have pictures of them in that group of pictures. They were friends of mine, and Joel McRae was a very close friend of mine. I've ridden on his ranch. I've ridden his horses, and I've been on. I have a beautiful enlargement of Joel, that he gave me. I took him on his horse, and Hopalong Cassidy lived up above. You remember him?
I sure do.
Hopalong Cassidy, and Roy Rogers, and his bride at that time.
Dale Evans.
Yeah, Dale Evans, and I knew them, and
Did you get to work on the movies as an actor, or were you there
well,
as a...
I wasn't in the movie itself, but I was in there when they were taking pictures, because the county had an ordinance that whenever a movie was made in this county, there had to be one fireman and one deputy sheriff on duty at all times. They were not allowed to shoot a picture without having a deputy sheriff there or a fireman, just in case. It was safety, that's all.
Well, that must have been a fun job.
And we went over it a lot of times, a lot of pictures been taken, lots of, not much excitement, but lots of people you knew. You go down the street and you see somebody, the postmaster over there became a very good friend of mine. And I remember well of working on a case. He had his safe, the U.S. Post Office was burglarized, and they just picked up the safe and carried it out. They didn't just go in and it wasn't a stick up. It was a burglary in the middle of the night. And they just walked off with the safe.
And what year was this?
And I found the safe 2 or 3 or 4 days later on a side road coming in from Lake Sherwood. I took a fire road, which I had keys to all the gates, you know, and everything, and I took a side road in there, and out in the bushes there was a safe. I dusted it for fingerprints, and all the cash was gone out of it. I called in a truck, and we hauled it in and turned it over to the federal post office inspectors, you know. And then later the postmaster and I were subpoenaed because we got the guy up in Salt Lake City. And we had to go up there and spend a couple of weeks on trial. Great trip. All expenses paid by the federal government, you know. We had a great time. But they prosecuted the guy, and I don't remember the circumstances of the catch, but he admitted that he was the one. And just things like that. It was, and we never went into a restaurant, but what, they didn't invite us, shake hands with us and invite us, glad to see us, and invite us and have a cup of coffee and a donut.
So it was very hometown feeling.
Very, very old-time hometown, and coffee was, and a donut was 10 cents, but we never paid for it. And today you wouldn't dare do that because then they think you owe them something, see. They're afraid the idea is altogether different today. Maybe better, maybe not, but we got personally acquainted with everybody that owned a store and everybody that had a business by just being friendly with them. We'd stop in with no reason at all. Well, how's it going today? Yeah, how's things? It was a great attitude. A lot of people in Thousand Oaks, very clean-cut people, which still is today.
Thousand Oaks is also famous in the movie industry for originally it was called the Goebel Lion Farm. And I understand that you played a major role in quite an exciting event
Right.
that happened there, a fire
Right.
that took place. Could you maybe explain that?
Well, the way it started out, I was on duty But I happened to be in the sheriff's office at 9 o'clock at night, inside, just waiting for a call, or not being out on patrol, you know, just waiting for a call. And the call came in that there was a big fire at the Gobel Lion Farm. Louis Gobel was the owner. And
Which, if I can interject, became Jungle Land
yes,
and is now the home of the City
Right.
Hall and the Civic Arts Plaza.
right.
Yes.
That's City Hall and everything is in there now. And an arsonist, it was a fire on an arsonist. And we spent the rest of the night over there. And of course, in that early age, the most of the animals were in wooden cages. Well, you know what a fire will do with a wooden cage. And so we had to destroy 7 Bengal tigers and 1 elephant because they had gotten burned and were dangerous. There was at least 1,000 people had gathered by that time watching this big fire, men, women, and children. And we had help from Los Angeles and probably Oxnard, maybe, and the other, just everybody, and all of our special deputies and everything. We had special deputies at that time, you know, and to keep the crowd back. We all wanted to crowd in and see what was going on.
Well, how did you destroy these animals?
Well, the elephant got really burned. His tail caught fire and burned, and so did his ears and his trunk and his eyes. I don't know whether he was blinded or not, but he was really gone wild. And you can imagine what a wild, burned elephant in pain, the damage he can do. They're so strong and so big. And so the Humane Society was there in full blast helping us, and they said, get rid of him, you got to shoot him. So my partner and I shot him with a .30-30 rifle. And we lined up, we asked an elephant expert man that was there, a trainer, and he said the best place to shoot him, line up angle from his eyes down here and shoot right in here, and his eyes were out here. That would be the most vulnerable spot. So got him quiet for just a second, and we were about 25 feet in front of him. And we said, on the order of shoot, we'll shoot. And so we aimed and said, 1, 2, 3, shoot. And we both shot almost identical at time. 2 bullets in there, and the elephant dropped just like that.
Well, you certainly put the elephant...
Put him out of his misery and out of danger of 1,000 women and children of all ages were around out there watching this big fire, because it was a big fire. And then the Bengal tigers were in a wooden cage, and it caught on fire. Well, before any of them got out, all we had to do was shoot them. I don't know whether I shot 1 or 2 or 3. My partner shot from, and the fire chief shot 1 or 2. How many shots? I don't remember how many shots, but we killed. So I kind of considered myself a big game hunter in California.
I would too.
Bengal tiger and elephants.
Now, I know in your home that you have a cabinet that's filled with a lot of your treasures and keepsakes.
I never hated to do anything in my life as much as to shoot an elephant.
Well, I'm sure of
or
that.
a Bengal tiger, because they didn't know why we were shooting them, but we had to do it. Safety. That's the first thing that we thought of. Safety.
That's the first thing.
Safety first.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on my mind for a long time that I had to shoot an elephant. I have shot 3 or 4 deer, but I wouldn't do it today. I just can't see myself shooting even a wild dog today, but I would if my life was in danger. Self-protection, I would. I'd have to.
Yeah.
It's either me or him. Better him.
Well, what I want to see is this cabinet that I've heard about, that you keep a lot of your treasures and your keepsakes and memorabilia from your police years.
Yeah.
Do you want to show that to me?
You saw what was in the den in there.
Yeah, but I want you to show me again.
Okay, and then we'll go outside and I'll show you what I call my doghouse. It's a green room. And I have some out there too, and the pictures that I brought in.
Okay.
Some of the people that I knew, and I have pictures of all of them.
Okay.
And I'd be glad to do that. Be very happy to do that.
Okay. Well, we're going to go into his den and look at his memorabilia cabinet.
Well, they're just guns that I've accumulated through the time. That's a Derringer 45, old-time 45, single action. And this is a 38 snub nose. And that is an air gun. That's an English air pistol, single shot, shoots slugs. And this is a billy club here made of ironwood that I showed that to you. And
It's quite heavy. It's very heavy.
Gene Biscuitous gave that to me, and he was a sheriff of Los Angeles County, you know, for 24 years. And a very good friend of mine. And then these others are golfing, and just golf in 75, and just funny little things. And these are golf things that I've won tournaments on.
Hey Mary,
And,
what about these billy clubs over here?
And are these billy clubs too, up here?
Yes, these are billy clubs.
Now those are different.
This is a Cuban dress billy club. Was given to me from a friend in Cuba.
Oh.
And this is just an ordinary wooden club that Gene Biscuitous gave me. Got his name on it. See?
Oh. Now, do policemen still carry billy clubs?
Yeah. Well, they used to carry them. I never carried that kind of a club. I always carried a what they call a sap, S-A-P, made out of leather, about that long, had a loop handle so you could put it on. Just, these are too dangerous. Break a skull, you know, and you can be sued for murdered a guy because you intentionally hit him, and it's not good. And just ordinary little things. All the badges.
What does the number say on the captain badge?
Well,
Is that the one that says 1?
yeah, yes.
Does that mean you were the first one?
This is Captain number 1, see? But they've changed the design now. This is different. And this is my original, when I started, and this is my original captain's badge when I went from a deputy to a captain. Why, this is it. And this is my aero badge because I started the search and rescue in Ventura County. Now they use helicopters, and it's a big thing now. But we didn't have helicopters when I started this. However, I've flown helicopters, but not much. I couldn't go out and fly one today.
Wow.
That old gun was dug up back at the courthouse, or back at City Hall now,
This one, this
The
is
big long
very old.
with the bayonet on it.
Yeah, that's very
So it
old.
must be a Revolutionary War. That's real old.
That's
And the sheriff gave it to me because the museum didn't want it. No history on it.
oh, that's amazing.
Just old. So they give it to the sheriff, and the sheriff got an okay from the district attorney to release it, and he released it to me.
Tell me about these other guns.
These are just little old guns that I've taken away from people that carried them illegally, and the court turned them back to the sheriff, and the sheriff says, you took it away, you can keep it.
Oh my. Now you've got some more badges here. I take
No.
it this is from your flying.
Well, the sharpshooter, and these are flying, and Air Force, and there's my captain's emblems, and these are sharpshooters and rifle, shotgun, pistol, and this picture shows me I was instructing, and shows if you can see right up there. There, I'm actually shooting, and that's an empty going out. That's a Tommy gun, what they call a Tommy gun, 45 automatic Tommy gun, and I instructed in that. And so
Well, this is quite a room.
Just keep coming around, Marianne.
Okay. Now, did you shoot this deer? Is this
yeah, that's Utah.
from Utah?
Yeah, that's a Utah head, and
What do you think is your biggest personal achievement?
well, now that's a pretty big question. I think I've never been this old before, so I imagine that if I had my life to do over again, I don't see any changes I would make. I have loved everything I do. I loved the fish and game work, and I liked the sheriff's work because it paid me a little more money, and there was a better chance of advancement, and I was at home. Fish and game, I was all over the state of California, and I was on the water, and I was down in Mexico. But flying, I love flying, and I have a license, and I belong to the Air Force Reserve, and I enjoyed the Air Force when it was in Camarillo. I got some helicopter flying and some big airplane flying, and I have owned 3 airplanes of my own, and as the pictures that I have show, the wife used to go with me all the time. We'd go on these trips, you know. We'd get up in the morning and go to Salinas or Fresno for breakfast.
That's
and
great.
Come back home.
That's great.
Just because it didn't take any long time to get up there, you see. We had the nice trip of flying. I've flown probably every airport in California. I used to take prisoners to San Quentin and Folsom.
In your 97 years, did you live by a personal motto?
No, well, I have one motto that I think is good for everybody. And that's everybody that's in business or doing work is plan your work, then work your plan.
I'm going to think about that for a minute.
Yeah, plan your work first, then work your plan. And it's so easy. And that's good for especially construction workers and people that are doing things. They plan how they're going to do it, and then they know what tools to use and how much time it's going to take, how much it's going to cost, and what new equipment you're going to have and everything if you plan your work. And if you plan it right, you can work that plan, and it's so easy.
You've had such an impact on the history of this area. How do you want history to remember you?
Just me. That's all. I have no way of knowing. I like people, and I am in favor of the sheriff's office because that's where I retired from, I think they have a great sheriff's office, a good sheriff and undersheriff and chiefs of police is around that the sheriff contracts to. And I like police officers, and I like cars, and I love golf. I played golf for 15 years, and after I retired, and I love that. But two of the things I like best is golfing and flying an airplane. And I'm too old to do either now. Little arthritis, you know, in the neck and in the shoulders and in your knees. And your eyes is not as good. Your hearing is not so good as you get older, but you accept it.
I think you look great.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
If I had a dime, I'd give it to you. But that's good. I appreciate it. But no, I don't know. I have no reason to know why I've lived this long. Good genes, I guess. I come from good stock, and I don't smoke, and I don't drink, and I will take a drink in the evening if I'm home. And at home, I don't drink out at all. I don't go to bars, and I've never smoked. I've tried everything, and I found it wasn't for me. And I try to be honest with everybody and try to treat everybody like I would like them to treat me.
Well,
I'm not particularly a religious person. We do go to church, but it'll interfere sometime with things that we want. We're a great family, oriented with our family. We love family, wife's family and my family. And sorry to say, there's not many of them left.
well, it's been delightful talking to you and really a pleasure.
Well,
Thank you so much for being a part of Living History.
I appreciate you coming over.
Well, thank you for
and
inviting us.
I think you've done a great job.
Thank you.